could be one of the fastest guys in Power Hour. There's a great shot of Casey right there. Nitto Tires, Texas Speed, Miller Motorsports chassis.
All right, we have 15 seconds till the start of Power Hour.
Okay, here we go, guys. It's just about to go real. Jade Wickham is going to be leaving the line in under 10 seconds. Power Hour is about to kick off here in Johnson Valley.
The 48-23, Jaden Kyle Wickham hot on course.
Oh, look at this. Full throttle assault as he leaves the line.
The Jimmy's chassis is looking smooth.
Let's see what these guys can do.
You can definitely see that first turn has just been torn up, though. Those high center of gravity cars are fighting that first turn.
Yeah, these big berms are getting rutted out, so the higher you can get, the more speed you can go. I did take a lap with Chase Caprera a couple days ago on the short course, and those rock sections are a lot tougher than they look on screen.
Oh, that's the biggest thing about out here. Anyone, if you've never been to the Hammers and you're just watching this at home, it is a completely different world out here. Yeah, it just looks like they're climbing over some little rocks, but these rocks are huge.
So there's Jaden Kyle heading through the whoop section. The shocks are eating him up pretty good. Heading to that first little rock section. We'll see how much speed he can carry up through here. Smooth.
That's exactly what we've been watching all day, Miles. We've been seeing that. I personally feel that is where people are making up time, is in that first little rock section right there.
And there's a great shot of Casey Gilbert getting ready to hit the start line. Try to chase down Jaden Kyle Wickham.
And because it's Power Hour, it's going to be a little bit different. They will hold the next car until that previous car gets off the course. So we will see the time as they come in, cross the finish line, so there will not be two cars on the course like there was before.
So there's Jaden Kyle heading up short bus. We'll see if he takes that right line, which he does. I do believe it's a little faster on that side. It's not quite as loose.
It is interesting. He took that right line, but as we saw earlier by watching the in-car footage of our current leader, he was on that left line. Got up there what seemed to be slower, but may end up have been faster.
They're coming down the backside of short bus, heading towards the Jeep arch. There's lots of rocks in here that can bite you, but it looks like they've been picking through here pretty good.
Looking nice and smooth coming down through here, but I don't think they're going to beat Jason Bunch's time.
Jaden Kyle really pushing hard, looking good, looking smooth.
And as soon as they say that, they pick up the pace, and my word, they're flying now.
But we've seen him come through there that fast all afternoon, and nobody's come close to picking off our leader's time. It seems to me that I think that first time, there's a good chance it could hold all afternoon, even through Power Hour.
And that happened very early on today, so it's just a really testament to show how hard Bunch pushed. When I went out to the pre-show a few weeks ago, I was tagging along with Gerald Lee, and I saw Jason's Bunch at the wrap shop. It was still green, so the new red look for Jason Bunch is pretty cool. A little off course there.
We call that the Levi Shirley line.
But he didn't slow him down too much. We'll see what kind of time they throw down. Right around the 3-minute mark, we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be just over the 3-minute mark. Or just on and around, but we'll find out in a moment. And we've got Dustin Sexton sitting on the start line now. Dustin moving into the 4800 class. Used to be a 4400 class car. But that's what the 4800 class is all about. And they'll be leaving the line in about 6 seconds. Here we go.
44-37, Dustin Sexton.
You can hear the change of pace as that motor screams as he heads down towards that first bend. And he's looking good, really good. And we're just waiting for Jade Wickham's time.
We have the KMC clock on the lower section.
I see it right here. We got Jade Wickham at 3:07. So though he looked fast, just like we said before, looked incredibly fast, not fast enough.
Yeah, that Jason Bunch is probably out there sitting on his hands at the moment.
And surprising news, I just heard through race ops that Bailey Cole will not be racing in Power Hour.
Well, that's big news indeed. Bailey Cole was one of the favourites for the race this year.
Dustin Sexton still making some pretty good dust out there, heading up that first little rock section. The four-wheel parts, little hill climb there.
Those of you watching at home, you'll notice we added a KMC wheels clock to the bottom screen so you can see how each car is doing. Just keep in mind that is not an official timer. The cars need to be timed officially. That'll just give you an idea of how fast they are. Are they on pace? Will they take the leader down or not?
And then next off the line will be Casey Gilbert. He's one of the fastest guys in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. If I had to pick one guy to bump out Jason Bunch, it's probably Casey Gilbert.
This is who you've been waiting for, Jim. This is your guy, right?
Oh, mate, I'm looking forward to this. Really looking forward to it. As we watch Dustin Sexton, he's making his way up round the top. Be heading down short bus shortly. And he looks good, but I think he's going to be outside of that magic 3-minute zone. Now this clock is really interesting. So we just saw Dustin come over the top there in just under 2 minutes. So that gives us a benchmark to work to. So let's see what Casey can do when he gets on course in a moment. Of course, we were talking to Casey earlier. Now Dustin, it looks like he might have a soft tyre there.
Yeah, it looks like the right front is flat. So
Yeah.
tough break for him. That'll definitely slow him down, but he's still pushing pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's not flat. As long as he keeps a little bit of air in it, he'll be okay.
Those tires do tend to self-inflate at a certain amount of RPM.
And here he comes now. He's at 245 and he's still not got to the Jeep arch. So yeah, he's not going to be troubling Jason Bunch. And you can see now that tyre is almost completely flat. Time bleeding away once again.
And this course has been pre-ran so much that a lot of the big digger rocks have been bumped out of the way, so tires haven't been that big of an issue today, which is pretty surprising as hard as they push for qualifying.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. We were saying earlier about the, how few transmission failures we've seen and how few punches we've seen as Dustin Sexton crosses the line. And that means, who's leaving the line next?
Casey Gilbert with his Nitto tires taking off the line. He's going to be pushing hard and Bad Larry.
Listen to that roar.
You can hear him working that car through that short course.
He's got a brand new motor in that. They tuned it, and he said this is the fastest this car has ever been. With a new wrap on it, this car looks really sharp. And Casey can really drive.
Casey knows how to pedal a car, he knows how to put good pace down, but he also knows how to save a car as well, which is why he's a previous winner of this event.
And Eric Miller talks about him a lot about how fast he actually is, and he's almost too fast in some of the sections, so as long as Casey can dial it down just a little bit, he's going to be hard to beat. And you can just hear that motor screaming. He is all over the throttle.
Now, let's watch this. He's coming onto the big rocks now. So he's going to be checking back, pulling back the gears. This is a high box assault. Look at that. Oh, beautifully done there by Casey.
Right up and over the four-wheel parts rock section.
Up on two wheels there as he transitions into the sand section, heading up towards the back.
He is part of the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. Casey Gilbert really pushing hard towards short bus.
There's definitely no question that he's running this course fast. No question.
And Jason Fish is going to be worried, or Jason Bunch, sorry, is going to be worried now. This is looking very fast. This is definitely sub 3 minute, but how far below 3 minute? Getting caught up there a little bit, going sideways.
There he is, he's on that left side. That's the same line that our current leader took.
It is, and look at that, look at the speed.
And when you pop over short bus, I heard you talking about it earlier, you cannot see where you're at, so that's where pre-running really comes into factor.
It's a leap of faith. You have to pick a mark and just go for it.
And he is coming down that hill really good, looking smooth, picking his lines, heading towards that Jeep arch.
Those Nitto tyres really hooking up well on the corners, allowing him to keep the power down as he makes his way down towards the final bottom turn.
And you see he does have the red number plate on there because he was our champion last year, so it's cool to see Casey Gilbert change his whole car for that red number plate.
It's the badge of honor.
blistering fast pace right now.
This is looking good. We've lost our KMC clock, unfortunately. Would have been nice to see what the split time was as he came across, but we're going to find out what his total time is very soon. Oh, look at the speed.
Casey Gilbert bringing all the heat right here into Hammertown for the checkered flag. Casey Gilbert's going to be giving Bunch a run for his money.
Okay, so we're waiting for a time now from Casey Gilbert.
All right, we just heard Casey Gilbert. We now have a new leader. He was able to unseat Jason Bunch, and he is at a 2:38. Only 1 second.
1 second splits him, so that just shows you how fast Jason Bunch was earlier in the day for Casey Gilbert to just get him by 1 second. Great, great run by Casey Gilbert.
When you watched him on course, you knew that was fast. And to be that fast and only beat him by 1 second really shows how fast our previous leader was.
So that is David Hartman out on course, and I believe Cade Rod will be riding shotgun during the race, but he is riding solo during qualifying. So David Hartman running really good in that Jimmy's 4x4 chassis. Randy Rod builds one heck of a machine. David Hartman out there running good. So David Hartman's out on course, still running good, heading up towards Short Bus.
Okay, well, we've got Casey Gilbert joining us on stage now as we watch David Hartman going round, heading up towards Short Bus.
Also taking that left-hand line.
That Casey's got his helmet off. Miles is going to have a chat to him, and we're going to find out
So
how our
Casey
fastest
Gilbert,
qualifier is.
Fastest qualifier. You just beat Bunch out by 1 second. How was your run out there today, Casey?
I really didn't think we had it. We made a little mistake coming across the rock pile just out of the short course, and it got in my head, and I couldn't get things together, but see if the time holds up.
And that you're just, once again, proving why you have that red number plate on the back of your car. I really dig the new scheme you have on this car.
Thanks, yeah. My wife wanted to change it up this year, and we always have a running joke, all red everything. All of our equipment at work and everything's red, so she did a good job designing it and really worked out well.
Yeah, it matches your shirt you wore at the Nationals a couple of years ago.
Yep, yeah, our cowboy shirts. We still got those somewhere.
Well, Casey Gilbert, thank you. We're still watching David Hartman coming into Hammertown, the 4874. So David Hartman still all over the throttle all the way to the checkered flag. He crosses that line. We'll get his numbers up here shortly. Up next is Brad and Roger Lovell, AMSOIL, sponsored machine. They've been racing with us since the very beginning, and they're on course in that 232 machine.
As we watch the Lovell car there powering off the line, let's not forget this car is 11 years old and is everything that the Legends class is about.
He's won this Everyman Challenge multiple times, so Brad Lovell will see how he runs today. He always runs up front, and he's actually switching things up a little bit this year. They just built a brand new AMSOIL 6100 spec truck, so he'll be racing the desert. It'll be fun to follow them along.
Yeah, definitely a motorsports family there. Those guys have been pretty much in every form of off-road racing at some point in time. Good to see that truck, as we've said before, 11-year-old car out there still laying it down in the Legends class.
They've been running Spider Tracks axles since the beginning, so it's great to see Tom still working with the levels. As Brad heads up to the four-wheel parts rock section, we'll see what kind of angle he takes up there. He's looking like he's running pretty smooth, takes a little bit of a bad bump, but keeps on rocking and rolling. Come down this hill into that soft sand, take that left-hand turn towards back door, and then cut up Short Bus.
Yeah, there was no question. They made quick work of that rock section, and that sort of seems to be the only way that you're going to make up time on this course. They certainly handled it quick and easy.
Now we just saw David Hartman earlier crossing the line. A 2 minute 50, and that puts him in 6th place. So a great run there from the young man. As we watch Brad Lovell still making his way around the course. If you get a chance to see this car in the pits, go and have a look. It's a genuine piece of history. And so good to see it here once again.
He's running in the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class for the last few years. He transformed from the 4400 class down to Legends. Good to see him still out here running with us and being competitive.
You know, they've run that same style of truck for, God, almost 20 years now. I remember they used to run that back in XRA, back in We Rock. That is a Lovell signature look.
They've got a Ford motor plant in that vehicle. They've been running those motors for a long time. They're still pushing smooth.
Yeah, he's looking good as he comes on down through. They never look super fast, but they always deliver. But he doesn't make... Where the Lovells do so well, they don't qualify fastest. What they do is they just sit there, then they set up a nice race pace during the race itself.
Gets on 2 wheels just there a little bit as we're saying he's taking it easy, but still rocking and rolling. He's screaming on right into Hammertown, right at the Steelett turn, and hits the checkered flag. We'll get his time up here shortly.
And off the line now, it's car 43, it's Mike Johnson.
It looks like the Lovells came in with a 2:57 fast time. Puts them in 12th place.
Great run for Brad and Roger Lovell. Mike Johnson, number 43, out on course. We still have a lot of big names coming up. We have Jimmy Jack, John Grounds. Dan Fresh is still up. I mean, there's going to be a lot of fun coming here in Power Hour, so stay tuned in, ultra4racing.com/live. Stay tuned in all night. We'll have the Holly EFI Shootout, brought to you by KMC Wheels, King Shoss, and Action Sports Canopy later on this evening. But
Now, I've been looking in the lineup, and I haven't seen Jesse Haynes yet. Have you seen him?
I have not seen him yet. No, I haven't seen the car drive by.
I haven't even seen it on the lake bed yet.
It's small. It'd be easy to miss.
Well, Jesse is always famously late, so we'll see if he turns up. But it's Mike Johnson on course at the moment.
I see Dan Fresh walking towards his car right now, giving the thumbs up.
Dan Fresh, of course, did so well here a couple of years ago. See if he can repeat that this year as Mike Johnson makes his way up towards the back of Short Bus.
I see Casey Gilbert and Levi Shirley down there chatting it up, comparing notes on their pre-run. So Mike Johnson is still out on course, but I just bumped into Gerald Lee, Mr. Savvy Off-Road himself, and I see you're waiting for Dan Fresh to run.
Well, Dan Fresh and Eric Miller, we just finished the JT, so it's going to be in the lineup in a few minutes. Oh, sorry.
So here comes Mike Johnson now, picking his way down through Short Bus. Look at the size of that rock. And he's looking good. He's not going to be troubling the top runners. But it's a smooth run, a clean run.
So Mike Johnson still cruising through, heading towards the Jeep Arch. Number 43, Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson crosses the checkered flag. This is Power Hour for the 4-Wheel Parts Every Man Challenge. We have Spider Tracks, Brannick Motorsports, and Yukon Gear and Axle sponsoring this.
Okay, and off the line now is John Lay. Now we saw John Lay there. He went backwards and not forwards. Miles, what happened there? Is he looking for extra traction or something? That's a very strange thing to be doing, or perhaps he just pulled the wrong gear.
There's a lot at the line. You're getting your helmet on, making sure everything's tight. Did he bump the shifter? Who knows?
I would love to have a chat to John later on. Let's find out. He's looking red hot as he comes around now off the second bend, heading towards that second jump, and he looks quick.
He's really smoking through those little whoop sections, heading up to the 4-Wheel Parts rock section. As I see them ship out, Dan Fresh, number 88. Remember, this car has never lost an Everyman Challenge race, so definitely some pressure there.
Don't put that pressure on him, Miles. That's not fair.
I've been giving Dan a little grief all weekend long. Everybody's having fun with it. But it looks like John Lay's having a little bit of issue. And he's backing up once again. Looks like he's pulling off course, so must have a mechanical issue, so tough break for John Lay.
That is a shame. He was moving fast, too.
Yeah, he looked really good there. No one likes to see that. Hopefully he can get it fixed.
So he will be starting at the back of the pack. So there's number 48, 40, Dennis Lapp coming up next. We'll make sure John Lay's clear of the course. Great shot of those Nitto tires there.
Okay.
So Dennis Lapp's patiently awaiting, getting ready for the green flag for his qualifying run for the 2019 4-Wheel Parts Everyman Challenge. He's part of the Brannick Motorsports Legends class. We're getting a little chat through our PCI radios from race ops, trying to get everything figured out, getting John Lay cleared. We should be back under hot course action momentarily.
You know, so far Power Hour has not disappointed. All day we've been waiting for somebody to unseat our leader, Jason Bunch, and finally Casey Gilbert came in, laid down what appeared to be and proved to be an incredibly fast time, and still only pushed him out by 1 second.
But there's still more cars to come. There's still more action coming as well. And we got Dennis Lapp sitting on the start line now, waiting to start. Could he be that guy? Can he beat Casey Gilbert?
Dennis Lapp about to leave the line.
And we have live racing on a hot course. Dennis Lapp heading out. Getting ready to hit the Nitto tabletop.
We were saying it earlier about how different all of these cars are. And look at this car, so different again from everything else we've seen today.
Yeah, definitely a look of its own as it gets out there and is just tearing up the course.
He's looking good there as he heads on around that second Talladega bend. Throttle down, engine roaring. We watch Dennis Lapp heading up towards that first set of rocks.
Really, you can see the suspension really working well through those whoop sections heading into the 4-Wheel Parts rock section. Dennis Lapp has a pretty smooth run going. Taking a little bit conservative, it looks like.
Made quick work of that rock course, though.
Yeah, I think that was really good driving there.
And on deck is Mr. Matt Howell himself. He's got double duties this weekend. He rented a tribe car to race on the big day, so it'll be a lot of fun. Matt Carricker, he's a YouTube star, and he's going to ride qualifying tomorrow with Matt Howell. But right up next will be the 4510, Matt Howell.
As we watch Dennis Lapp now making his way around the back of short bus. Oh, just look how that line's cutting up. Lots of noise and hardly any forward traction there for a moment. Just showing how this course is deteriorating.
That left line all day has been fast, 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 but as you can see, as he dropped into it, the bottom of it is now completely torn up again.
Yeah, he just seemed to take a slightly higher line there, and it was just in that loose stuff where he gets thrown out, just fighting for traction. But he's doing a good time here.
Dennis Lapp picking his way down there, trying to make sure he doesn't clip a tire with a rock. We still have Jimmy Jack in the line, Dan Fresh, but right now it's Dennis Lapp. So Dennis Lapp came through the Jeep arch, hauling the mail into Hammertown. Grabs the checkered flag. You see Bailey Cole cruising through in his 4400 car. We were just told he is skipping power hour, so he'll be starting from the back. 45-10, Matt Howell.
Out on the
And
court.
look at this car, it's so beautifully prepared as always. Matt Howell, a 3-time championship winner in this class.
With Adam Shearer riding shotgun, Mr. Tribe 16 himself. It'll be a lot of fun watching these guys race this week. Matt Howell does a lot of prep. He does a lot of strategy. Matt Howell really puts a good race strategy together.
That whole Tribe 16 crew, that is a group that has come on so strong in the past few years. Just out here at one point in time with a couple cars, now multiple cars, huge pit presence, prepping so many vehicles for this race. You know, the Tribe 16 guys are really sort of coming into their own in this one.
It's a story that's repeated across Ultra 4 in all those different classes. We see so many little manufacturers popping up that suddenly just go from being a small one-man band in a workshop to an expanding empire. And that's what we got with Tribe 16. And we're looking at this fantastic car of Matt Howell as he transitions into the rocks. Oh no, he's stopped. Come on, Matt.
Takes a little bit of a hop there, little struggles, gets back on the throttle through the 4-wheel parts rock section.
Yeah, he's well off course there. He'll be punishing himself. His co-driver will be sitting there just saying, calm it down. But Matt Howell is historically not a fast qualifier. What he is, he's a race man, he's a strategist. That's where he comes good.
And there's a shot of Jimmy Jack, number 63, with his wife Amy riding shotgun. So Matt Howell should be heading up the backside of Short Bus as we speak. And the Hammer King production crew has been doing an amazing job out there, so a huge shout out to those guys for making us look good up here. We're having a few difficulties from time to time, but remember, we're out in the middle of nowhere. We bring our own electricity, bring our own internet to bring you guys live action here in town and back at home. So make sure you tune in, ultra4racing.com/live. Get on the King of the Hammers Facebook, Ultra4 Racing Instagram. Use all the hashtags.
And Matt Howell is looking real pretty as he comes on down the hill now.
Incredibly fast and you got to remember, that is a 4500 car.
Indeed it is, and it's an old car now as well. Let's not forget that. It's been around for a long time, but the preparation is 100%.
And it's probably the shiniest Jeep that's racing here on the lake bed.
It slides through the air, it has so much polish. Here he comes, making his way up now to the Jeep. Arches, which way's he gonna go?
Looks like he's gonna take the far left line as he dives on down and hits the throttle heading into Hammertown, trying to really pick up a few extra seconds, heading towards the checkered flag. Matt Howell crosses the line.
Incredibly fast time.
And there's Jimmy Jack.
Jimmy Jack
fabrication off the line.
Looks like we have a time for Matt Howell. Matt Howell came in at 2:54.
That's a great run for Matt Howell.
That is a fantastic run as we watch Jimmy Jack, everyone's favorite.
Jimmy Jack and Matt Howell have they fight all year long on the racetrack, but they're buddies in the pits.
This car is a fantastic piece of innovation. If you get an opportunity, go and check out the steering. We were talking about the difference between 4500 class and 4800 class cars, and one of the big differences is the steering. In a 4500 class car, you have to have a mechanical link. Check out Jimmy Jacks. He's got some very clever ideas that allow him to use basically a hydraulic setup, but with a mechanical link.
KMC Wheels, Nitto Tires sponsored machine.
And that's a perfect example of someone reading that rule book and interpreting it to their best of their ability. It gives him the ability, sure, he could go full hydro, go into a Legends class, but then he loses a complete set of shocks off that car.
Absolutely.
If you look at that car, he's got coil carriers and bypasses. By keeping that link, he's able to run that shock package, which in turn probably makes him faster in the desert.
Indeed it does. We're watching Jimmy Jack now for a number of years, and he just gets faster and faster and faster with each year that goes by. He's picked up some really good sponsors, and he's been able to push his race program on even further. So good to see him here in Power Hour. It will mean a great deal to be here.
And there's a great shot as he's heading up the backside of Short Bus.
Go on, Jimmy, get that toe down. Let's see that car eat.
And I'm sure you guys have seen his race hauler that matches his race car. It's got a cool scheme on the side of it. He has teamed up with Rick Lavezzo last year and this year, and they are really making a great effort. They built almost a twin car for Lavezzo in the offseason.
There's an interesting split time. We were talking about that before, Jim. We saw a 2-minute split time. He's at 150 over the top.
Yeah, now this is looking really good. If he can hold this together, he's just bleeding a bit of time there. Well, got fingers crossed. His wife will be sitting there, Amy. Legs, toes, fingers, and everything crossed. But he's just losing a bit of time coming down there. He's being a bit too careful. Come on, Jimmy.
And he only has to beat the 4,500 time from Dustin Friesen, which is a 2:49. So it's going to look really good for Jimmy Jack in his class for the 4,500 Yukon gear and axle modified class.
Yeah, he's pushing it out wide there, looking for that cleaner line. Now it's interesting, we've seen different strategies from different drivers on this. We've seen some that are really fast on the opening half of this stage and some that are really fast on the second half. And Jimmy seemed to make all his time on the first half, but he's just losing a bit of time here.
Yeah, coming down the backside of that hill, it certainly looked like he was taking a very conservative line.
Very conservative. I'd say he'd lost a good 10 seconds or more. It's going to be hard pushed now to break that 3-minute mark, and yet earlier on, you'd have said he'd been well inside it.
Oh, absolutely.
So a nice clean run there from Jimmy. As we watch the 4580 car of John Matthews as he roars off the line.
John Matthews, I know him well. He's a friend of mine. He was on my pit crew, I guess that would be 10 years ago now, where I was racing 4400. This is actually a car he bought a few years ago just for fun, and has really sort of stepped into this whole race scene again and having a good time doing it. Comes out of the Pacific Northwest.
It's a good looking car, and he's got a nice line as he heads into that second 180 bend. And that's a full throttle sprint right the way to the top.
That's another incredibly fast. Once again, 4,500 car doing really well out there. Looks like we have a Jimmy Jack time, came in at 2:58.
So what, John Matthews here. It'll be interesting to see his split time when he gets to the top of Short Bus.
We can certainly compare it against Jimmy Jack. We know he was at 150 and came in at a 2:58.
Yeah, he lost that time though coming down the far side. So let's see what John Matthews can do here. He looks very good as he comes up through this section of the course.
And he's heavily sponsored by Yukon. Good to see those guys helping him out so much.
Yeah, it's worth noting we have so many fantastic sponsors of the cars out here. They like to give their support and help to these teams. And that means we get fantastic racing and lots of action here in Johnson Valley.
So
now
his
this is more
split
like
was
it.
almost the same as Jimmy Jack's over the top. We'll see how much faster he is on the second half of that course.
But he's attacking that course on the downhill just a little bit harder. So as we wait for John Matthews to come round this bottom bend, make his way towards the Jeep arch. It's a solid time. He's not going to be our new leader, but he will be sub 3 minutes by the looks of it.
Heading up towards the Jeep arch. We'll see what kind of line he picks coming out of here. Looks like he goes for the wide left. Pretty popular this afternoon.
Our fastest cars, though, have been going through that central line. As he crosses the line.
He looks like he's going to be right around that 3 minute mark exactly.
Yep.
And next up off the line is Mr. John Grounds, Proving Grounds. Daystar powered machine. I chatted with him in his pits for quite a while last night. He's very excited about this year. He wants to finish the Everyman Challenge. So he's on course. Great looking Jeep. Jeep has a heavy stamp on this class. Great to see those guys stepping up so much for us. The official vehicle of Ultra 4.
It's a fantastic looking vehicle. We can see there, as you look under the front of the car, you'll see the steering link, which means he's running a steering box, and it's a completely different feel to the car. So you're seeing these cars racing 4500s, racing against 4800s. We keep coming back to that whole thing about steering, and it really does make a big difference, particularly when you get into the rock trails out on hammers.
He did a complete teardown and rebuild in the offseason. New motor, new tranny, new wiring, new shocks, everything. He's really pushing hard for this season. And he thinks he's going to race the entire season this year. So that's a huge commitment for Daystar. Pretty cool to see them backing him.
The big thing you need to remember when you're talking about that steering link versus full hydraulic, it's not just the steering that affects the suspension travel. A mechanical link onto a box, you can see that tie rod running down, or drag link running down from that steering gear down to that right front wheel. That limits the amount of travel you can get out of these cars sometimes. Full hydro, sky's the limit. Long as you can stick a shock in there, you can get the travel.
As he's heading through the sand wash towards Short Bus. John Grounds still pushing hard. The 4570 Yukon gear and axle modified class. As he crosses over Short Bus, we'll see what his split time is, right around that 2 minute mark.
Watching that split time as he came over across the top of that gym, he is a good 10 seconds off what we saw John Matthews and Jimmy Jack come through there at. So although he's pushing hard, the question will be, will he get under 3 minutes?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be under 3 minutes, but it's a nice clean run, and at this stage of the game, that's where you need to be. Watch it, Shawn Rance Senior now, lining up. A veteran of these events. It'd be great to see what he can do. And it's good to see him in Power Hour here today.
As John Grounds heads towards the Jeep arch in his Jeep, see which lane he picks. And he takes that straight lane, takes a little bit of a hop, but running smooth. John Brown's heading into Hammertown.
Now we had that little bit of a shot there, and you see how fast he looks, and yet compared to other vehicles we've seen, he doesn't look that quick. So it just shows how committed those other drivers were earlier on.
Absolutely.
And here goes Shawn Rance Senior heading off the line at any second now.
The course is hot. Shawn Rance Sr. on course. See what kind of time he could put down. Heading towards the Nitto tabletop as we speak. Getting a little bit of air. Heading to the big Daytona berm. And when I rode that a few days ago, it was really getting dug out. Taking the high line. This is Power Hour for the 4-Wheel Parts Everyman Challenge. Huge shout out to Brannick Motorsports for the Legends class. Yukon Gear and Axle for the 4500 modified class, and Spider Tracks for the 4600 stock class. Without those guys, they would not be racing today, so great to see great companies doing great things.
Definitely moving quickly through that section of the course as he comes up onto the rocks.
And the man of the day so far still is Casey Gilbert.
Just easing out Jason Bunch by literally 1 second. Incredibly close racing. But that's why we're here, because we love close racing. And Ultra 4 gives us all of that and a little bit more. Watching Shawn Rance now as he makes his way through the back end.
And
Good pace.
If you stayed in that wash, that heads right up the back door. Just kind of give you a little nitbit of where you're at on course. But he's going to turn left right here and head up towards Short Bus.
Let's not forget there's even more action yet to come later on today. We got the Holly EFI shootout. The Southern Rock racers are going to be down here and they're going to be showing us what they can do with 1,000 horsepower and a banjo as they attack the biggest hills in Johnson Valley.
It's always a crowd favorite here in town and back at home, so be sure to tune in to this evening right around 6 o'clock. It'll be just northwest of town within walking distance. It will not be at back door, but the Holly EFI shootout will be tonight. King, KMC, and Action Sports Canopy helping put that show on. A good shout out to Clyde Bynum and SRRS for doing the timing for tonight's shootout.
Look at this John Rance Sr. here, absolutely giving it everything. Flashes from underneath the exhaust as he powers around, making his way up towards the Jeep arch.
And there's a couple different lanes you can take right through there, and there were a couple big rocks in there. I wonder if they got kicked out or not.
But he noticed the way his car's transitioning there. He's bouncing, he's moving all over the place. He's just losing speed. We saw earlier on Dustin Friesian, we saw Jason Bunch. They were able to hold the power in all the way around that bend, and it's changing.
Takes the left line out of the, way left out of the Jeep arch. Completely taking its own line.
Saw one other car take that line earlier today.
Shawn Rance Sr. crosses the checkered flag.
And it's Darian Dissett about to leave the line. Now come on in, Ian. Are we going to see someone else break the 3-minute barrier?
I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, we basically have an incredibly fast time with Casey Gilbert. Jason Bunch sitting right behind him. What amazes me is you basically have Jason Bunch, who left the line incredibly early this morning, lay down an incredibly fast time, and yet someone finally beat him, but only by a second. And it's almost been 10 hours apart from each other. That's the best thing about this type of
We were
race.
talking about it earlier. Paul Herschel last year, do you remember in 4,400 qualifying? He punched in another time early on, and not a single car in the 4,400 power hour could beat him. So, strategy.
And I hung out with Paul Horschel last night a little bit in his pit. I checked out the new car, and that thing is an absolute work of art. It's going to be very exciting to see. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve, and he's going to push hard in qualifying, trying to get out front early.
Yeah, it's going to be great to watch. But today it's all around about our EMC qualifiers for the 4-wheel parts EMC race. So it's Darian Dissett heading over the first rocks, and he's really clean. This is looking like a nice run. These are great shots here from our production crew.
Making quick work of that rock section.
Oh, it's fantastic to see. I've seen so many different styles there. Let's not forget, these cars are running 37-inch DOT tires.
It's a lot to ask of a tire like that out on a trail like this, and then to be punished in a qualifying position like this. It's just amazing that we haven't seen. We've seen a few flats, but not many.
And it's hard work in a car like this. You've got a steering box, that wheel's kicking in your hands constantly. You've got to keep your thumbs out the way. He's doing a great job here.
As he crosses the top of Short Bus right around that 155 mark, so a pretty smooth run so far for him.
I think he's going to be just over the 3-minute mark. Darian looking really smooth here as he heads back down, wheels off the ground.
Really pushing it all the way to the end.
Total commitment, we love this. This is why we're here, Miles.
Jim, Ian, it's been a blast. I'm happy to be a part of Power Hour. We've had a lot of fun and a lot of great racing for the 4-wheel parts Everyman Challenge qualifying.
And here comes Darian. He's going to be crossing the line shortly.
And there he goes, crossing the checkered flag here in Hammertown. We'll get his time up here shortly.
And it's Jesse Oliver, the 4517 car, heading off the line now.
He's in the 4500 Yukon gear and axle modified class.
And you can see there, great shots there. You can see how those Talladega bends, they're starting to dig up a little bit. Just have to take care as you go around them. You don't want to catch one of those edges and end up on your lid. And
Yeah, we've been really lucky so far today. We have no incidents inside the short car, so that means that in the next few cars we will have one. Because we've said that all day.
Well, earlier on today we also saw 4 separate rollovers, and this afternoon everyone's been very well behaved. Now this is interesting, the sun has come back out. We were saying earlier with that cloud cover, the guys as you come up over short bus, much better if you've got a bit of cloud cover. Now the sun's come out.
Struggling
He'll pop up over short bus and he's going to have that sun straight in his eyes.
So Jesse Oliver still making a clean run. Heading up towards short bus. It's been a great week of racing already, and we have barely just gotten started. This is going to be a long, fun week. Today is the 4-wheel parts Everyman Challenge qualifying. Tomorrow will be the 4400 qualifying for the 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers, powered by Optima batteries. Wednesday's the big day for the 4-wheel parts Everyman Challenge. Leads us into Thursday, the Toyo Desert Invitational, powered by Monster Energy, the T1 trucks. We have the last 10 winners of the Baja 1000 racing with us this week on Thursday. That leads us into the big day, the 4400 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers, powered by Optima batteries.
As we watch Jesse Oliver coming down the back through short bus, picking a nice line there. He's not going to be sub 3 minutes, but it's going to be a clean run.
And I've talked to a lot of people, they don't necessarily want to qualify up front. They just want to get a solid run and save the car for race day. So there again, strategy does definitely play its effort into today's race. I was talking to Johnny, which is the crew chief for Savvy. Dan Fresh should be running up here very soon, and they're only going to be running about 75-80%. They want to be, mid pack, but not towards the back, and save the car for race day.
Interesting strategy.
We've seen a lot of people who were on the qualifying list not show up. This isn't required qualifying like the 4400s, so you can bow out and just take that luck of the draw and just see where you end up. The question is, how many cars end up in front of you if you do that?
And remember, on race day, we will be mixing up the 45 and the 4800 cars. They'll be taking off in their qualifying time, and then the 4600 guys will take off behind all of them.
And Jesse Oliver crosses the line. And here goes Justin Hall. Now Justin, he's been racing here for a long time. Let's see what he can do. Car sounds fantastic as he blazes away from the line.
He does a lot of different racing all over the world. Great to see him still racing with us in that number 13 machine.
And he looks quick.
heading out into the desert section, heading through those nasty whoops right there. He is in the 4400 class, heading up towards the four-wheel parts rock section.
Here he goes. Now let's see how he works this. Very experienced pilot. Oh my God, Justin Hall, what are you doing? Come on. Now, we didn't expect this. Come on, Justin.
So did his transfer case pop in neutral? Did the transmission, something happen?
It looks like he took a heavy hit on the front axle casing, kind of almost bounced backwards off it. So a tough break here. Let's see what he can do.
He's checking all his levers, making sure everything's in gear. I'm sure he's very frustrated at this very moment. But if he can still take off, he can still finish this. Otherwise, he'll get a DNF and start towards the back of the pack.
I think he's out, Miles. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Well, tough break for Justin Hall, number 13. Looks like we have our recovery crew getting ready to get him out of there, get him out of the way.
It's just so simple. Racing can be a very cruel mistress. Hero to zero.
And up next is Cody Sinclair, another Tribe 16 built machine. I believe he's a very young chap, I think right around 18 years old. Great to see him racing with us the last few years. It's been a lot of fun to see how far he's came with this sport. His dad, Anthony Sinclair, is out in the crowd, patiently awaiting.
So as we watch Giggle Pin Mike, one of our support crews, just helping Justin Hall there. And then it'll be Cody Sinclair next on the line. It's a tough break for Justin, but gives us a chance to see our superb recovery crews in action.
A lot of these guys are just volunteers, so if you see anybody in an orange vest, just give them a handshake. Tell them you really appreciate everything they do to allow us to race out here in Johnson Valley for King of the Hammers. He'll have to get it back to the pits and get her shakedown to see what he has to fix. So
all right, as we take a little break from the action, we're going to take a quick. We had a conversation earlier with Dan Fresh about the car and what his expectations were for this week, and so we're going to roll that into you guys right now.
Hey, I'm Dan Fresh. I'm driving the 88 car once again, winner of the EMC race last year. So really looking forward to doing it again. Car's been out several years and it has never lost. So they bring that up every few minutes, you know, that this thing is a lot of pressure. Make sure you get that thing home first. Don't have to do the overall, just make sure you win the class. So I'm real excited about it. I've been practicing a whole bunch in this car. The guys said, they did tell me one thing though, the car does not win. Don't come back to the pits. That car, being that it's never lost, it really comes down to team effort, and these guys put in the work. It's incredible. You know, I've been down there late nights, you know, almost watching the sun come up. You know, these guys are putting in such late nights, getting the car ready, and it's all about the preparation they put into it. It's taking the time to go through all those little tedious tasks that you look and you say, hey, that looks good. It's not good enough for them. They're going to take the time, they're going to tear everything down, they're going to put it all back together. They got Gerald, they got Johnny, they got Logan, they got some.
So Cody Sinclair, we had to cut that clip short, sorry about that, but Cody Sinclair on course.
Now Cody, a late entry to Power Hour today. Let's see what he's got for us.
He's part of the 4500 Yukon gear and axle modified class. Really running hard here in Hammertown, heading towards the big sweeper to head out into the desert.
So Justin Hall has been scraped off course, and Cody is flying his way towards him.
You can hear him bounce the limiter as he hits the steel at launch. The The car's really soaking up that whoops. That's a pretty nasty little section there. Heading up to the 4-wheel parts rock section. We'll see if he makes quick work of it or not.
Yeah, he slows down quite hard there.
Takes a little bit of a bump, but
Oh,
Yeah, that's exactly what we've been talking about all day today. If you slow down there, that's what cost you the run. Finally up and over. Took a little bit of work though.
but he's still moving, and that's all that matters. Running a little bit more of that desert section into the sand wash, heading up towards short bus. So that cost him probably 7 or 8 seconds in the 4-wheel parts rock section.
It can be a huge game changer, that one section. Everyone we've seen that's run fast has gone into that section incredibly hard, almost as if they're not even slowing down to shift into low range. Up, you almost have to downshift into low range.
And there's a good shot of Dan Fresh in the 88 car. Gerald Lee and John Curry won, believe 3 years in a row. Then Jesse Combs won it. Dan Fresh has won it. This car has never lost an Everyman Challenge. Be very interesting to see how that plays out today and on race day. There's Mike Kim, Dan Fresh.
No pressure at all for Dan. No pressure.
He's been getting a lot of angles of that for sure.
it's a fantastic car. I've raced against this car a few times.
And
As we
there's
watch Cody Sinclair coming down the back of short bus. Haven't seen his time, but he looks like he's going fairly slow, conservative. I don't think he's going to be pushing our lead cars, that's for sure.
Yeah, he had an unfortunate incident in that rock section, got hung up, had to stop, shift into low range, get out of it.
Car sounds good. Looks sharp. Be interesting to see what he does in the main race.
There's a great shot of Hammertown. Shows you how big this is this year. This place is absolutely insane, and it's only Monday.
This is the first ever power hour for the EMC classes, which is great to see.
And there's Cody Sinclair heading into the Jeep Arch. We'll see which lane he takes.
I think he's going to want any lane at this stage.
Smooth and steady through there. Heading right into Hammertown. We'll get a time for him very shortly. He takes the checkered flag for the 4-wheel parts qualifier. So number 88, Dan Fresh, will be heading out for his 4-wheel parts qualifying right now. That savvy machine. It's going to be very interesting to see how he does today and on Wednesday. He's in the 4500 Yukon gear and axle modified class. So Dan Fresh and Mike Kim making smooth work in the infield. Dan Fresh looking very smooth in that fast section. The desert is where he comes from. The rocks are fairly new. I believe last year was his first time ever racing out here at the Hammers, but he's came out here with the Savvy crew, Gerald Lee, and they've done a ton of testing on that car, pre-running and whatnot. Makes quick work of the 4-wheel parts rock section.
You can see him push back down into that desert section on his way to short bus. That is the car that has had many drivers, never a loss.
Dan Fresh in the sand wash as we speak, heading towards short bus. We'll check out his time split. Looking like he's having a very smooth run right now. The Savvy built Jeep.
When this car first came on the scene in 2014, it was groundbreaking. They took the rule book, they studied it, They picked out all the bits they could, and they made this car. And what a car it is. Still very fast today, still incredibly competitive.
Crosses the top at 155, so he's got a very smooth run going. It's not going to set any records, but it's going to put him in that top 20, I would guess. But that was their game plan. Run about 80%, get up ahead of some of the other guys, and then really push hard on race day, chasing some of those guys' dust.
It's going to be interesting to see what time he has here against Dustin Friesian. Also running in the 4500 class.
And don't forget, Dan Fresh ran yesterday in the UTV Can-Am race and will be also racing a bomber car on Friday. So he's got his hands full. The Savvy team's got a lot of cars to play with, but they have a great team to do it with. He's taking his Jeep through the Jeep Arch momentarily. We'll see his line.
Good amount of aggression there as he comes off down the hill, making his way to the finish. That's a nice run here from Dan Fresh.
Dan Fresh hits the checkered flag. We'll see what kind of time he got.
And here goes Sheen McNamara, 46.96.
He's in the 4600 Spider Track stock class.
Leaf springs.
In a Jeep Cherokee that started its life out heading to the grocery store.
See a lot of Cherokees in that stock class. Seems to be the vehicle of choice, and for good reason. Those XJs are well supported in the aftermarket, proven well in the Jeep speed circuit for decades, so it's an easy transition over here in Ultra 4.
And Ian, you just got done building a vehicle very similar to that, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a Jeep Comanche kind of thing. It's not a race car, but it's going to go climb over rocks in Moab in a few months, and I do appreciate anyone who works on a Cherokee now after having to burn through all that unibody galvanum sheet metal, but they're definitely a vehicle that people fall in love with.
Shawn McNamara heading towards the four-wheel parts. Oh no, they do skip this section in that class. Shawn McNamara making a great run, heading into the sand wash. We should be picking him up any time. I can see his headlights in the lower left of our screen. Shawn McNamara making a good run in the Spider Track stock class. You can really hear that six-cylinder lugging. They've got a lot of torque in those motors, though.
Yeah, those straight sixes, those Jeep straight sixes, they're known for years to be that same motor had been left in there for so long. Great working motor, and it really is a great platform to build a stock class vehicle off of.
Yeah, it's great to see so many of them racing out here and do so well as well. You see big teams of people coming out to support these stock class vehicles. In that lovely Falcon livery. Shawn picks his way down the back end.
He's
a great example of what this class is all about.
Got a very, very smooth run going for Shawn. Remember, these guys will start behind the 4500 and 4800 class on Wednesday's four-wheel parts everyman challenge. And they will have a few bypasses in comparison on race day as well. But they're going to have their hands full crawling all these big rock sections out there. Be a lot of long day for those guys.
Yeah, it's about as close to torture as you can possibly get, the stock class. It's a very, very tough day at the office, but these guys love it. It's what they live for. They spend all year prepping for this race.
It's one of my favorite classes to just watch. You know, you got Albert Contreras, who just got the Sportsman of the Year. You have Dawson Allington, who'll be racing. He's been through his own battle the last few months, so great to see those guys out here racing with us. They've opted to skip qualifying today, so they'll start from the way back of the pack.
But let's not forget, their clocks all start at 0 when they cross that line. They won't be worried about track position. They'll be fighting their own race when they start.
And they'll be leaving side by side in 30-second increments on Wednesday. So Shawn McNamara takes the checkered flag for his qualifying run.
As we watch Shawn McNamara crossing the line, here's something a bit different. It's Eric Miller, two-time king in the Jeep Gladiator, a 2020 Jeep, here to show us it's all Jeep, all truck. Totally stock vehicle apart from some safety improvements. And this is what the stock class is all about.
Absolutely.
You can bring it, you can race it.
Well, and it shows that's a great. We were just talking about how great the Cherokee is as a base vehicle. You know, Jeep has such a synonymous history with off-roading. So to see them out here in one of their new flagship vehicles, Eric behind the wheel, just great to see.
It is indeed. The new JLs have been absolutely fantastic over the last year or so. So it's lovely to see this here today as Eric makes his way out towards the rocks. Now this is a very long vehicle, so what's he going to do here?
It's an incredibly long wheelbase.
But what it is, it might be a long vehicle, but it's a Jeep. So it's going to be a capable vehicle. Soaking up the ruts as he makes his way towards those first rocks. It's looking really smooth here.
It is, absolutely.
It's been prepared by Savvy for this race. And I love the fact that a manufacturer has got the balls to put a car here like this. That's fantastic. This is our product. We're going to bring it here. We're going to prove that. That's really cool.
Well, the reality is, I mean, you see Jeep everywhere you go into any type of serious off-road event. You got Moab, Easter Jeep Safari, out here at Hammers. This is where they belong. That's what they're built for, you know?
Adventure cars for adventure people.
That's right.
Heading up through Short Bus, and I've got to say, this is looking really cool. Eric Miller, of course, two-time king, a wizard behind the wheel. And he's also won the Everyman Challenge before, in the stock class, in the Jeep Cherokee that we were talking about earlier.
And to bring it full circle, his Ultra 4 car sporting a Jeep-style grille.
Absolutely. Jeep's such a massive part of the American way of life.
You know, Enzo Ferrari was famous for saying it is truly the only American sports car.
And Eric Miller is proving that right now as he makes his way down towards the Jeep Arch. And this Gladiator is shifting. So it's been a fantastic day of qualifying here at King of the Hammers. For the four-wheel parts, EMC. For the 4500, 4600, 4800 class vehicles. As we watch our last car in course on this power hour. The Jeep Gladiator being piloted by Eric Miller. But it's not finishing today. Not here, not now. A little bit later on, we got the Holly EFI shootout. Those rock bouncers, those crazy guys with 1,000 horsepower and a banjo will be entertaining us and showing us what you can do.
And what a great run Eric Miller just threw down.
Perfect place to test a new vehicle, a perfect place to bring a Jeep. So what do we reckon here? Has this been a great day, Ian? I've enjoyed it. We've seen some fantastic racing. We've seen Casey Gilbert come here. He had the pressure on him. He was last year's champion. He had to show us what he could do. Well, he's done that. He's come out here today and he's laid down a really fast qualifying time.
Absolutely. I think we saw some great drivers lay down a fast time first thing in the morning, and everyone chased them all day, which is kind of what makes qualifying fun. That fast time, and then finally get Casey Gilbert come out, knock him off the podium, take that pole position. I think we got a great lineup for a great race later this week.
But we've also got Dustin Friesian, completely different class. He's mixing it up there as well. So we've got this mix of classes. It's going to make for an incredible amount of racing. I mean, who's your money on?
Well, Casey Gilbert starting out front with that fresh air, he's going to be hard to beat. He'll be right side by side and leaving in 30-second increments. Remember, it is on corrected time, so even if he finishes first, there's a lot of people behind him that could be chasing him down all day. So it's going to be a long, fun day for those guys on Wednesday for the 2019 Four-Wheel Parts Everyman Challenge.
All right, and that's probably going to wrap us up for today. We'll be back later for the Holly EFI shootout tonight at 5:55 p.m. We'll see you then.
WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
We didn't just test the new Optima Yellow Top with Pure Flow technology, we tortured it. King of the Hammers is 181 battery-killing miles of relentless, unforgiving hellishness. It's one thing to call yourself the ultimate power source. It's another thing to prove it. The all-new Optima Yellow Top with Pure Flow technology with up to 3 times the battery life. Unsurpassed performance built to fit today's vehicles. Optima, the ultimate power source.
Go inside. Cozy up to the fire. Stay warm. Some call that a nice winter day. We'll have to agree to disagree.
Your bearings shoulder the burden whenever you tow, haul, or stomp the gas. AMSOIL delivers powerful protection for bearings and other critical components so you can drive with confidence. To demonstrate, an independent lab put AMSOIL synthetic motor oil head-to-head against a leading competitor in a 100,000-mile test. AMSOIL provided far superior wear protection and kept engine bearings looking like new. Get your truck the protection it deserves at amsoil.com/auto.
Steel-It polyurethane coating is proven protection. The stainless steel formulation shields against corrosion and protects against the toughest terrain. It's weldable, so there's no need to remove the coating. Just weld right on it. Go to steel-it.com for more.
Go further. Go safer. Gasoline transfer tanks for Jeeps, SUVs, pre-runners, and chase trucks. Tanks made in the USA, backed by a lifetime warranty. Includes an easy-to-use shaker siphon that transfers over 2 gallons per minute. Proven tough in the deserts of Baja, the trails of Moab, all the way to the race course. Venture further. Visit TitanFuelTanks.com today.